Hi, and welcome back to Football Made Simple.
Last season, Mikel Arteta's position at the helm of the club looked tenuous. The Gunners often looked dull and uninspired, culminating in a meek 8th place finish. This season didn't start too brightly either, with 3 defeats on the bounce. However, since February the 1st, only Liverpool have collected more points than them, meaning that they are now 4th with games in hand. But what exactly has Arteta been doing tactically to allow this? Let's take a look. Just before then, my favorite fantasy football app is back and better than ever with a massive giveaway. For the next 3 match days in the Premier League, just by selecting a team on Spitch, if you're ranked in the top 10, you can win massive prizes like AirPods Pro, an Apple Watch 7, a holiday package, or even cash prizes up to €3,000. All you have to do is download Spitch through the link below for free and make a fantasy football team. The beauty of Spitch is that prizes are given on a week-by-week basis, so if you enter today, you have just as much chance of winning. And the point scoring in Spitch is great, as it's not just about goals and assists. Instead, passes, blocks, and interceptions count, so players in all positions are valuable. So for this week, my team looks like this. Make sure to download Spitch and join my Spitch community through the link below so that we can compete in the same league. Spitch is currently UK and Ireland only and 18 years old and up. Well, since then, we've seen none of the back 3 that featured heavily in the early Arteta era. But there have been slight shifts in the shape, from the 4-3-3 to the 4-2-3-1 and more rarely the 4-4-2. Personnel-wise, we have a rough idea of his strongest side, but Tomiyasu can fill in at left back, Smith Rowe at left wing or the 10 position, and Martinelli can also come in on the left. The Gunners have found more versatility in the build-up. Last season, they had a heavy bias towards the left-hand side, but this season, particularly after the mid-season switch, they've also built down the right, and even when they build through the centre they have more thrust. But down the left is a similar structure to last season, with Granit Xhaka dropping deeper into the left-back position as they form a 3 to give them the numerical advantage. This will also subsequently free Kieran Tierney to push right up, knowing that he has cover in behind him. And in prior times, we would often see Saka out wide on his left foot, but now it's either Smith Rowe or Martinelli, who are both right-footers who love to cut in. Martinelli can attack the byline more, or look to get into goal-scoring positions. And Smith Rowe can do this as well, but he often moves into more creative regions, primarily in the half space. If this is backed up by the right back also moving up on the right hand side, Arsenal can form a front 5 and look to exploit the half spaces in this way. But Arsenal have generally taken a different approach to their build-up, particularly in the roles of the fullbacks and the midfielders. Firstly, as much as possible, Xhaka has operated higher, almost as a secondary free 8, and we have rarely seen him operate this high in prior times. Both fullbacks on the build-up also tend to remain slightly deeper, meaning that the Arsenal wide men now tend to hug the touchline, which makes sense, as if they did invert in these situations, it would lead to men occupying the same general regions. So, the deep fullbacks often draw the opposition wingers high, and the high wingers mean that it is harder for opposition to be compact, as their own fullbacks are pinned deep. The high positioning also means that if opponents are passive, Partey in this deep position has space to receive, and he has been vital in progression, whether finding great short and long range passes, or by driving up the pitch himself. At times, opponents commit to the press and try and close down Partey, but Alexander Lacazette has been playing as a false 9 with increased regularity, so in these situations, he would drop into the midfield to form a midfield diamond and outnumber the opponent. As a result, either a midfielder is forced to remain deeper, freeing Partey, or Lacazette can potentially be found. But Arsenal are also building down the right hand side with more frequency. Whereas Tierney tends to push higher on the left, even in this modified build-up structure, the right backs are slightly more reserved, and more focused on being a passing outlet, while Saka pins a man. And Odegaard has been the key. He at times pushes high into the half spaces, but can just as easily drop in to be a second progressive option, particularly if Partey is occupied. To exaggerate this, Saka can make runs in behind, creating even more room for Odegaard to move wide. And while the midfielder can follow, being this far out of position may not be ideal, particularly with the presence of the dropping Lacazette from higher up the pitch. And to change things up, it can be Saka who is helping Arsenal to build down the right. And this is helped by the consistent opposing movement between he and Odegaard, as Odegaard can look to make the run in behind while Saka is dropping deeper. If the fullback was baited into following Saka, now Odegaard has room to receive higher. But if not, now it is Saka who's receiving in these regions and looking to move the team higher up the pitch. And in the final third, that right hand side connection between Saka and Odegaard is almost telepathic at times. In that front five, the two will almost constantly rotate and interchange passes around the tracking men to get into good crossing positions, or more commonly to get Saka into shooting positions. And down the left, the makeup of this left hand side when forming the front five varies, with Tierney high allowing Xhaka to be the second pivot at times, but if Xhaka and Tierney are both towards the left, this can also launch an overload down the left to drag opposition across and as a result open up the switch to Saka. Let's touch on Arsenal defensively. They do look to press higher at times and their defensive shape is variable. And against teams with an important single pivot, Lacazette can drop deeper to cover the man whilst the wingers come in narrow to make play through the centre more difficult. This then forces opponents out wide, at which point Arsenal can enact a more aggressive lateral press. But in deeper regions, Arsenal shift into more of a 4-4-2, with Odegaard pushing up from midfield alongside Lacazette, and the team as a whole looking to remain compact and make central penetration difficult, whilst also trying to shift across and be proactive in covering the wide areas. Overall, Arteta appears to definitely have the Gunners moving in the right direction, and it is incredibly exciting times for Arsenal, led by a young core of Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Odegaard and Saka amongst others. But what position do you think the Gunners will end up, and how do you see their future under Arteta? Drop it down below, and anything else you've noticed about Arteta's side.
And if you enjoyed this video, you may also enjoy the FMS Patreon. On Patreon, you'll get early access to videos, exclusive videos, as well as the ability to vote on various polls and so much more. It's a great way to support the channel, and it is now cheaper than ever. All you have to do is head over to patreon.com/footballmadesimple, or press the card in the top right or the end card at the end of this video. And a special thanks to my patrons including Relu, Edwin03 and Ref.
But that's all for today, and remember, keep it simple.